Okay, welcome to Sandwich Reviews. I'm the Talking Sentient Sandwich, and I almost didn't believe it when people were saying how terrible this movie is. I feel like I can always find enjoyment in something. Hell, I enjoyed The Flash, and that movie is objectively garbage. So I went in not expecting anything but a fun, dumb ride, and let me tell you, I was still disappointed, bored, and embarrassed for everyone involved. I have no connections to the Borderlands games, so maybe some of the characters or Easter eggs might have made this a bit more entertaining, but I can't imagine that's the case. I mean, it started out with some boring narration exposition, and I instantly knew what I was in for. It's not an instant death sentence, because Black Panther managed to make opening narration important and even emotional, but whenever a movie starts out like that, I'm generally worried. And then the plot gets going, and the overused MacGuffin chase storyline becomes apparent. Simple and cliched stories have never been a problem for me, so long as the characters involved are interesting and engaging. And because of the fact that every single character in Borderlands is two-dimensional and all fit worn-out tropes to a T, that's where the movie fully lost me. Not a single person was interesting to me in the slightest. They spouted out every bit of information the writers thought would be necessary and join up simply because the plot demanded it. And there were plenty of moments where I was supposed to be worried about someone and I didn't care in the first place, but then the narrative would make that moment meaningless later on. So you learn to just not be concerned because no one is ever really in danger. Even aside from that, I tried to have fun with the sometimes alright camera work, but the constant narration and exposition just stopped me from having fun with anything. And not that this would fix the movie, but it is cast terribly. All of the actors in this movie are incredible, just not in this. I'd completely forgotten that Jamie Lee Curtis was in this, so when she showed up, I was floored. It was yet another thespian or comedic star getting their paycheck, I guess. Even the director, Eli Roth, has made some alright stuff in the past. It's not all hits, but they weren't as lifeless as this was. So if you haven't guessed, I would not recommend you check out Borderlands. It didn't take me long to conclude that I had wasted my money, because this reminded me of the bad old days of terrible video game adaptations. It's already been stated many times on Twitter, so I can't take credit for this idea, but if you are looking for an ensemble action comedy that exists within a well-known property, watch Dungeons & Dragons. And though I probably don't even need to give a spoiler warning, because who cares? But here it is anyway, because now it's time to dive right into them. The story attempts to give more focus and time to Cate Blanchett, centering its emotional core around her, and she does the best with what she's given, but her character is just as uninspired as the last, and I couldn't help but be bored whenever the filmmakers were trying to tug at the heartstrings. And of course, taking the Marvel approach, the villain is much less important than the many protagonists. Yet, this is astronomically worse. Not only is he barely in the movie, coming in twice to remind the audience that he is a part of the narrative, but he drops in the last 15 minutes and still proceeds to do nothing. Also, it's very brief, but I enjoyed the idea of him projecting his face on a henchman. However, the CG did not back up that concept, and it just made it look silly. But before I wrap up, I have to bring up Claptrap, because my goodness, who allowed him to be on screen for that long? All of the humor in this movie made me roll my eyes, but the robot especially. He was always blabbing some annoying line that was mainly just low-hanging poop jokes. His presence just made me think about how good R2-D2 is, and how Claptrap would have been exponentially better if all he could do was make bleeping noises. I know he probably talks a lot in the video game, from what I've seen everyone does, but cut his voice box early on, or something. I don't know. He took an electric shower for a second, and I had a small glimmer of hope that he was dead and gone, but I knew that was too good to be true. He even gets lit up in a firing line and still survives. I guess I finally get what Logan meant in Deadpool 3. But what did you think of Borderlands? Is there something that you enjoyed despite the overall flaws? Let me know down in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe for weekly video essays and reviews, and enjoy a delicious sandwich.